but hopefully it will not succeed. It is how to understand your child's temperament and why it matters. It is from the Understand Your Child Challenge, the 30 days challenge. We are almost 1 week in the 30 days, and I do hope you are following. Okay, it is how to understand your child's challenge, and all through this week, we have been from Monday till now. We have been looking at temperaments. Like I told you, we are going to look at 4 different aspects of our children, 4 areas we need to pay attention to: temperament, learning style, the age and emotions associated with age, and all of that. So this week has been all about temperament, and it's been one observation, one area for us to observe, and one area for us to observe. So I actually have mine here, so that's why I'm looking at my own phone, so that I can also pick them and explain to you. Because to understand the person's temperament, there are things, there are traits, there are patterns you need to look at for. You look at for patterns, and then you marry them. Then you understand. One thing about understanding your child's temperament is that when you understand your child's temperament, you can predict their reactions in different things. You understand, okay, my child is primarily phlegmatic. You understand that. For example, if you have a child who is phlegmatic, and phlegmatic, they need the extra push. There are these kind of children that you need to push them. Now, this kind of children that don't have a lot of natural motivation, you are going to put them in an environment that has less motivation. It's just a recipe for laziness, a recipe for lack of productivity. So you are always complaining, you are wondering, why are your mate doing XYZ and you are like this? It is because your child naturally has low motivation. The environment your child is also has a low motivation, so marry them together is just recipe for lack of unproductive life. So it is very important for us to understand our children's temperament. Why we say, oh, my child is, so my child is sanguine, I need to be more rigid in my structure, because if I'm not rigid, grow up with lack of self-discipline. So it is super important for us to know our children's temperament. Like I said, you just don't know the temperament from one day to another. You start observing patterns in your child's behaviors, patterns in their reactions, patterns in everything they do. It is why all through this week we have been looking at patterns. It is how you will understand your child's temperament. Thank you for joining me. If you are from the Visionary Tribe, yep, my name is Enimi Orebo of Academy, and this month is all about this. From this month, the next month, 15 to 14, we have an academy, the paid group. What I always tell them there is that if you don't take action at the end of the day, you are not going to get results. Once you take action, yay, hi, thank you so much for joining, thank you so much. But when you take action, you are going to get results. You are going to smile. You are going to be happy. But don't take action, no results. If you're not taking action, you would have wasted my time, wasted your time, wasted my data, and wasted your book and your pen, so that you can note everything you want to note down. Okay, so let's go right before we go right into it. In case you do not know, we have the self-led mentorship class, the self-led child summer up in the Visionary Parent Academy. You need to have your child registered there, because one thing you need to really minimize all the drama in your parenting is your child can take ownership of their lives. If your child can lead himself, can lead herself, then you are one way closer to achieving, or to parenting with ease. So you want to invest in self-leadership in your children. And we have a program coming in for this summer holiday, from August 1st to the last day of August. 9 classes, 4 coaches that will take your preteens from 9 years to 17 years. Someone asked, can I register my 8 years? Yes, you can register your 8 years. From to 17 years, the 2 categories we have: 9 to 12. You can register your child 8 years in the 9 to 12. We also have self-led, raising children who are able to lead themselves. We have 4 classes. We have self-leadership, we have spiritual intelligence. So you need to register your child. It is just 10,000 naira only. You need to register your child in the self-led summer class. So let's go to understanding your child challenge. Now the very first day the very first day, the thing we're looking at the very first day is, how does your child react to things? How does your child react to the environment? Is your child overly reactive, hyper reactive, or your child react moderately or calmly? Now you should already know by now that we have 4 major temperaments. Now we have different authorities giving it different names. I've had the dominating child, I've had the docile child, I've had a whole lot of names used to describe temperament. But the thing is, it is still temperament. There's just an agreement that everyone is not the same. There's an agreement that my late auntie is definitely different from my mom, is definitely different from the 2 younger brothers they have. So there's an agreement that my 3 kids are not the same. There's an agreement that everyone is not the same. Of this star, the very first day I listened to him, I said, whoa, this man definitely a phlegmatic. Yes, the way he's calm, the way he's slow to speak, and everything, and the way he is deep, because that's one thing about phlegmatic. I love to call them slow processors, but that's rather harsh, really. So, but yes, they are the kind of people that they just don't, except they're naturally gifted. If they're not naturally gifted, they just don't get it like this. But once they get it, they are deep thinkers. So Daystar Christian Center, Daystar role models, international school. Is the founder, yet he has businesses, yet he is phlegmatic are people that naturally one would think they have low motivation. So yet he is big. So what does that tell you? It is not about temperament. Yeah, temperament may define a person's innate trait, but a lot of other factors will come to interact with a child's innate trait to help your child be whatever your child is designed to be. Okay, so I'm sure by now you already know that we have 4 major temperaments. I was saying that I've listened to a lot of preachers, a lot of psychologists, a lot of parenting coaches, a lot of what have you. They have different names they call them. There is one, is it Enigma? I don't remember. There's one a coach, an American coach actually sent something to me the other time for me to like go through, and I was like, this is temperament. And she said, yes, she noticed that I'm big on temperament, or rather I'm strong on temperament. That's why she sent it to me. I'm like, okay, but however, your name is not temperament, but again, you see different. So we have the temperament, we have the choleric. These are the strong-willed people. That is strong-willed. They are the ones that the go-getters. They are the ones that we call born leaders. They are the ones that are naturally determined. They are the ones that they talk, stand their ground. They are the ones that can be very, very annoyingly stubborn. We have the choleric. We have the sanguine. Oh my gosh, they are the ones that seem to be highly responsible. They are the ones that seem to be very impulsive. They are the ones that seem not to hold interest for, interrupt you. They will not even wait. The ones who, oh my God, they are so loving. The ones who will see a visitor and the next thing they are spreading their arms to hug. The ones that always chatting, so adorable. They are the sanguine. Then we have the melancholic. Those ones, the ones that 1 minute they are happy, the other minute they are frowning. You are wondering, okay, what is this now? The one that you are wondering, okay, what is now making you angry now? What is happening? Why are you moody? The ones that are highly sensitive, are highly irritable. Oh my God, the ones that can annoy you forever. And guess what? That are without, except maybe there is something, a learning difficulty, they are the ones that super extra intelligent. Oh my gosh, I love them. They are the ones that you come to the classroom, whether you are a kinesthetic teacher, whether you are a visual teacher, whether you are using auditory as your teaching method, or using anything, they just seem to just follow. The one that parents say, ah, can't you see your mate, can't you see her, she's coming first and all of that, melancholic. Yes, they are. Yes, 1 minute they are happy, someone says sanguine, they are loving, impulsive and chatty. Yes, 1 minute they are happy and 1 minute you are wondering what is wrong with this one. Of the ways you always know your melancholic child, the fact that they can spell. I part of them, they can spell, they can easily spell, they can easily spell. If they have if they have the same natural abilities with other other temperament, choleric, phlegmatic, sanguine, and all of that, they have natural ability, they are likely going to excel more if they have natural ability. And I always think it's because they are naturally attentive to details, and they are naturally able to comport themselves a way that they're naturally able to fit and blend into situations. That is not that they are naturally able to blend into situation. Okay, they are naturally more able to apply themselves. I think that's the right phrase I will looking for. Able to apply themselves more than other temperaments. So when you know them in the classroom, you see them that they are chatty too, they talk, but they're the kind of children that actually keep quiet because they want to obey rules. Because you have told them to keep quiet, it is why they want to keep quiet. That's melancholic. Why the phlegmatic, on the other hand, actually keep quiet because they don't even have strength to talk in the first place. They don't even all of that, to talk in the first place. So, and they just even don't want to get into trouble. They don't want to get into trouble. Like the melancholic keeps quiet because, hey, they have a high standard. They always want to be in the good book. They want to be the good children. That is why the melancholic child will keep quiet. But the phlegmatic child, because they don't want you to flog them, they don't want your wahala at all. That is why the phlegmatic child will keep quiet. Are you getting the gist? So that is why they'll keep quiet. So the phlegmatic, they are the ones that are usually very peaceful. Yes, they are easy to control, they are peaceful, they are obedient. So if you have a phlegmatic child, and I have if I have a phlegmatic child, yes, they don't want to get into trouble. If I have a phlegmatic child and you have a choleric child, and my child will go out and my child is all seated, composed and all of that, and you come back and say, I can't you see your mate, the way she just sat down, he wasn't misbehaving. The mom will say, sit here, she will sit here, you don't listen, you don't hear. Someone said, are you Igbo? I'm from Zion. I'm a Zionite. So it is because the two children are not the same, whether they are, even if they are age mates or anything, they are not the same. It is why your sanguine child will don't sit down, because naturally they are not wired to sit down. They are restless. Yeah, they are not sitting down, they will not sit down. But you see your phlegmatic child will sit down. Now these are the four major temperaments. Of course, no one is fully one. So we are all a combination of, we have one major temperament, then we have another one, another secondary temperament, we have a third temperament. I remember I always see myself as phlegmatic and sanguine. That's how I always see myself, because I can be very chatty and I am very peace loving. If you see have someone who avoids trouble, I am someone who avoids trouble. I don't like it where it hurts. So I'm naturally a peacemaker and I'm chatty. Oh my gosh, I can chat, I can talk to save my life. I can talk forever. So remember I've taken tests a couple of times, and they'll say, oh, my second temperament is choleric. I'm like, choleric? Okay, my mom's second temperament is choleric, but my mom is predominantly phlegmatic. So I said I'm predominantly phlegmatic. I hope that was what I said, because I'm quite very peaceful. So my mom is predominantly phlegmatic, and her secondary temperament is choleric. So there is nobody that actually has one temperament. It's just that for very many people, we score way higher on one than the other. So for example, you have people having 60 of temperament A, 40 of temperament B, and of 40 30 of another temperament, and 10 of another temperament. Then we have people who have 40 of a major of one temperament, 30 of another temperament, 10 of another temperament, and all of that. Then you have people who have, yes, 70 of one temperament. I have uncle, he's sanguine. You don't need anybody to tell you he's sanguine. Oh my gosh. You know, I remember someone once said that my uncle, his voice enters a gathering. Was that what he said? I think my grandma enters before you see my uncle, before you know that my uncle is here, my uncle has entered already. Because from the time he's at the gate, they are driving into the compound, you are already hearing his voice. So you're already hearing, and you know what, he's laughing, you're already hearing him laughing. He is always laughing, and then you are wondering, why are you laughing? So sometimes everybody is just all cool, everything, no, nothing is funny, and he's laughing. You're wondering, how can this make you laugh, that is how, when we ask, our first activity was, how do your children react? Sanguines, they are very high on reaction. Oh my gosh, if you see them react when they are hot, it is why they are so unstable when it comes to emotions. You cannot bank on them when it comes to emotions. They are so unstable. They have the tendency to magnify things. So you see something just tiny like this happen, the way they will just cry, you think maybe heaven has fallen. You almost want to say, is it, are you okay? Those those kind of children, they are the sanguine. Or they are laughing, something happens, they are laughing, you are wondering, what is funny, why are you laughing, as in, I don't get you. I remember back then when I was in university, these cotton buds we used to clean our ears. I remember it finished, I had a cup, then I ran out of the one I bought with the cup. So I bought the sachet, those small sachet. So I now poured it into the cup. And so my uncle came to visit us one time in school, and he saw it, he noticed, and that was enough for him to have a good laugh. I kept on laughing and teasing me. If they saw the biggest, come on, you come on now. You can't buy a cup of cotton bud. Is this one you are refilling? You are still people are refilling beverages. You are refilling cotton buds. Marco has a good time laughing. And it wasn't funny to me. I was wondering, Uncle, what is funny? That's our sanguines, and they are highlighted, they are over the edge. It's a typical sanguine lover that, oh my gosh, you call them romantic. All over. You will say, oh my gosh, this is the best spouse ever, because that is how they are, very, very expressive of their feelings, of their emotions. They are very expressive. It is why when they are hurt, they are all over the place, all dramatic in their crying, in their tantrums. When they are also, someone is sending me a message, okay, if they are also like please, okay, so let's go into the traits we have. We actually have 9 temperament traits, and so far we've looked at 4. So today at the remaining 3. Then on Monday we stop on temperament, and we'll go into another topic. It's all about understanding our children, so we look at every aspect. It's not just about temperament. We also need to look at learning style. I hope we can look at love language. We can look at a factor in how our children behave. So when we understand age, and we understand other phases of development. For example, you have a child a particular age, you have it's just a lot. Now, one thing that happens is when you understand these things, it's going to help you a great deal. Let me explain something to you. But if you are not there, you need to join the Visionary Parent Academy. It's very important. It's an empowering academy. It's very, very empowering. Please join there for 2025. 2024 is open for registration. Join us there. We do a lot. We're supposed to do this challenge there, but we brought it here for free to benefit you too. You can join us there. We do a whole lot of things. Last month, and I tell you, it has been so amazing. It has been so amazing. I didn't even realize so many things I have not taught my children to help them to be more productive. And like I told them in the academy, I'm going to repeat all my challenge for the summer, and I'm going to be taking the self-led. I'm going to be taking self-leadership in the self-led summer mentorship class. So I'm also going to be teaching them these productivity skills. So many of things we just think, oh, they're not important, that we learned in the productivity challenge, they have really helped me with my children. Every now and then I hear them say, okay, man, is it urgent, is it important? Things I never taught them ordinarily. We make our routines every day, we set our goals. These things we are becoming more of them. And like I say, if they make it a habit now, by the time they grow older, they will not need to visit all those things. They just have it in them. They are growing with them. They are cultivating success habits already, because we all want our children to be successful. They are cultivating success habits. So if you are not with us in the Visionary Parent Academy, I want to encourage you to be with us. You can ask how you can join us. You can register now, or you can start paying in bits till the end of the year, and then you join us. It's an academy you definitely want to be, and it's not just it's 5,000 naira monthly. However, we don't collect a monthly, you just pay at once. So what you can do is you can pay in bits until the end of the year. Please join us there. You are not going to regret joining us. You are going to be so empowered, and we have a lot of materials we share. And you also need to register your child in the self-led mentorship class. It's going to be very empowering for your child, I assure you. So I was going to say something. I said one of the reasons you need to understand your child, you understand your child's temperament, you understand your child, the phase your child is, you understand your child's learning style, and a lot of things. So last year August, my family moved from Lagos to Delta State, Agbo precisely, a suburb. And so I registered my children in the school. Now, my older son is primarily he's phlegmatic. Now you know that phlegmatic people, they need to be pushed. They need, like I always say to parents, right? If for your phlegmatic child, if you don't have a structure, if you don't have a rigid structure, is like they are peacemakers. They want to please you, they want to make peace. They don't even like your drama, they don't like your yelling, your nagging on everything. They don't like them. But the truth of the matter is, they have this innate crave, almost uncontrollable desire, or to relax, to be so relaxed. So because of that, if you do not put a firm structure in place, you are going to have them less productive. You do not want that. It's not because they do not want to. Of course, I said they have a secondary temperament like choleric that gets them moving. Now, if you have a child who is phlegmatic and the secondary temperament is sanguine, you see, I'm adjusting my seat. What I'm telling you is, you need to double up. You need to double up. Your child is phlegmatic. They are naturally relaxed. They like it easy. You know, I always tell people that I'm Obiangeli, even though I'm not Igbo, I'm Obiangeli. You know, Obiangeli means people that came into this world to enjoy. That's who I am, you know. That's who I am. I'm Obiangeli, so I just came to enjoy myself. I not want this life to suffer kind of person. That is who the average they can be driven. Situations can make them to be so more with situations, with events, with things, with their passion, with their purpose. In their passion, they can be very, very productive. They can be all over the place. I use Pastor Samuel as an example when I started this class. So they can be very, very successful. So I was talking about my son. So first of all, he's phlegmatic. Simply means that he needs structure and more push to thrive. That is one. Secondly, he's 12. He's adolescent age. age where emotions are everywhere, age where they are confused, age where who everything is just not, they don't even understand themselves. Everything is not just skin, everything is not just putting together. They don't even know, they are just everywhere, so it makes them moody, always, they don't know what to do with themselves. He's in that age. And then we know it. And so I registered them in a school where the structure is not as much there as the structure was in the place we are coming from. It's been a struggle. I'll share details in the Visionary Parent Academy. It's been like, it's just like, it's been almost like a struggle. I just have to like double my parenting efforts. Now, if I didn't know all these things, I would really be frustrated. It is why you see parents, they get frustrated. They do what they don't want to do. They say what they don't want to say. But because I understand these things, even though I still understand these things, it's not a walk in the park. But because I understand these things, it has helped me to be able to structure and restructure. It has helped me to be able to be more patient. I was talking to one of the major attending. I told them I was going to change my two other children to another school, and they actually recommended a particular school for me. Everybody was now saying, oh, this particular school, this particular school. I looked at all this and I said, now this particular school, even if it's far away, one of the disadvantages is very far from me. So, but however, yes, I was telling a friend that even if that school was behind me, I'm not going to have my child in that school, because in this area where I am, parents are very, I don't know how to put it. I've been in a school where parents and a teacher, they were almost fighting. When I say fight, I'm not saying verbal fight. They were almost having physical fight, like them one they throw blow. It was this close, and children were all over the place, and I was there. I've had parents tell me several times, I went to the school, I want to show them the length of my tongue, I want to show them the stuff I'm made of. In this kind of environment, I said, whoa. So now I won't this environment where parents dictate to the school how they manage the school, because discipline in this area, it is not a parent academy. Some of the things I noticed about the school, where the discipline is top notch, that is structure. So with me, with the school having a firm structure, and with me creating a firm structure at home for myself, and the school structure, they meet. Oh la la. For my phlegmatic child, the environment has to be motivating. For your phlegmatic child, the environment has to be motivating. Otherwise, you will just end up having them relaxed. You just have it. They will not apply themselves enough. They will not apply enough. That is why if you have a phlegmatic child, you need to double your parenting. You just don't need to relax. You need to make sure that you are always parenting, because the truth of the matter is, yes, we can say that our parents didn't have to do a lot of things, but the truth of the matter is, the distractions we have today, our parents didn't have to face it. The tendency to be lazy that is available today, our parents didn't have to face it. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had visitors. My husband's friends came around, and they were talking about when they were growing up, a lot of things they were talking about, how they would do this, how they would do that. I told them, I said, yes, back then life had processes. Back then there was something called scarcity. Back then children had responsibility. Scarcity was there, responsibility was there, and discipline was there. When you say discipline, it may not be the kind of discipline we approve today, but it was there. Children knew that, okay, everyone kind of spoke the same language. Everyone kind of spoke the same language. If I remember, my parents, they have a child living with them. Okay, not a child, a teen. She should be like 16, 17, living with them. And my mom was telling me that like my mom has a shop in front of her house. This girl, she's the one that mans the shop, and so most times I go there, she is eating. My mom told me that if she's eating, if she's eating any snack, it was the snack she was. Okay, sorry, network was that. So she was telling me that in the place they are coming from, a place that if they are beating a particular child and someone is coming, you meet them beat the child, the person will join and beat the child. They will not even bother to ask because they will know that the child has done something bad. So when somebody steals, it is just public beating. So because of that, they learn not to steal. So we are not saying, oh, that's an approved method these days. We are saying that in those days it was easy for children. Even at then, we still see that the people, the kind of adults that were raised, so many of them are also adults to be proud of. But then back then, things parenting was more, it was, should I say, raising responsible human beings was more attainable because of everything, because of the way the system was. But today, so don't sit back and say our parents didn't have to do this, please. No, no, our parents had a time where it was much easier for them. Like I said, scarcity. Children learned responsibility. They learned they learned to do things. They learned from scarcity. I put it on Facebook one day. I said, if your child is of an age that can do their laundry, 7 years, 8 years, they can wash their undergarment, wash their singlet, wash their pants. Don't buy 5 socks for them to take to school. No, buy 2 for them. So when they come back, they know that, oh, I need to wash my socks because if I wear dirty socks to school tomorrow, the school will flog me. Your child will learn from those things. But parents always get it wrong. They feel, oh, it's poverty mentality. No. That scarcity made children to be responsible. Like today, I have each one and come and show me. They showed me one this evening. Until you finish one and come and show me. This one, they said it's no longer writing. It's no longer writing. It's half full. Okay, drop it there and take another one. Until you finish it and come and show me. I'll not give you another one. But for very many parents, you just buy this one and put at home. Your child don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to take care of things. They use one, they throw it away, another one is there. They can just do anyhow because things are just scarcity. We are removing scarcity from our parenting. We are removing chores. Someone says, oh, have your child wash clothes with their hands. It's punishment. We are removing that. Children have less chores to do. Children have less time to play. From play, they learn. Taking that away, his television, his phone, his gadget, is all of that. So it is definitely not the same thing at all. So you've had a lot of opportunities to grow, to be better, but today, these opportunities are limited. So I think I've derailed for I've gone away from the topic for too long. Let's go into the topic. So I areas, all the 9 traits, the temperament traits, the 9 temperament traits, we have not treated that, but I'll take all of them today. Then in the course of the week, now sit back and marry yours together and know where your child falls under, which of the temperament your child falls under. Let's go. The first one I have here is activity level. Day 1. Activity level. How does your child seem constantly active, always on the move? Does your child prefer quiet activities? How does your child is very active? They have a lot of strength. The sanguine is very active, have a lot of strength. Then the phlegmatic is not so active, while the melancholic is not so active. Now, one of the things that usually happens is when parents have one child, they feel, oh, my child is so active, my child is everywhere. I've heard that a lot of time. Even when my son, phlegmatic son of mine, was when he was much younger, I was always complaining, this child, this your boy is so calm. I said, why? My brother just got married, he has not given birth yet. So this your boy is so calm. I said, are you kidding me? Place. He said to me, you needed to see my friends' sons that came yesterday. He said they literally turned the house upside down. He said, your boy is active, your boy is calm. At least you can tell him, no, don't do that, and he comes back and stay. Even if he doesn't stay for a long time, he still goes because it's age appropriate. I said, whoa, yes. So when I register my children, my son especially in the creche back then, I realized that nah, I thought my son was active. Nah, he had he was respectfully active. There are children that, so you need to understand how active is your child. If your child is very hyperactive, super active, active all over the place, I mean, there's a likelihood that your child is um sanguine, or your child is choleric. They are very, very active. Now the next thing is predictability. We talked about predictability. I think that was on Tuesday or so. How predictable is your child? If your child seems to have a pattern that you can easily predict, you know that your child is either a melancholic or a phlegmatic. That's how you can know them. If you are there, please, if you are with your pen or your paper, please write them down, and you can come back and watch the video and note all these things down. Number, choleric children and sanguine children, they are very, very active. Melancholic children, they are active, but they are not. Phlegmatic children, they are less active. However, okay, so predictability, sanguine children, nah. Choleric children, nah. Sanguine, they are not so predictable. But with the melancholic especially, they are more predictable. I remember there was a child in one of the school, in when I first registered my children, my son, in a creche back then. Not a creche, okay, I'll call it a creche, a granny's house. Mama, they told me, oh, mama is so nice, mama is this, mama is that, let me register my child in the mama's class, in mama's creche. Mama's creche. So each time I go and pick my child, my mama will always be beating one child, beating him, beating her, the shame. Once you eat finish, you go just poo for body. Once you eat finish, you go just poo for body. See other children for here, they don't dey poo for body. If they want poo sef, they go dey give sign. They go dey uncomfortable, they go dey restless, and na you even senior them. Meanwhile, this girl she was always beating was, I think, almost two, or about two and a few, two, within the neighborhood of two. And comparing them, they were less than two. She was older than them. So mama was always angry that she would defecate on her body. When she finishes eating, she defecates on her body. So why don't we? That was it. And the girl would not talk. He would just relax in the pool. I think we'll get to that. He would just relax in the pool as if it's enjoyment. Why other children, some children will be like, nah, their body will be like, they'll be on. Next one is sociability. Does your child easily warm up? Do you have a child who easily warms up? Now again, we have four major. Your child easily warms up. The first major temperament that easily warms up is sanguine. Sanguines easily warms up. Oh my gosh, you have to tell them, please look before you leap, because they actually leap before they look. You understand what I mean? They look before they leap. So you have to let them know that they need to leap before they look. So sanguines easily warm up. That's one thing about them. They are so sociable, even as children. They are even as children. One thing we always look at them is they seem to have this. We always see them as children with self-confidence, and it's not really like self-confidence. It's because, let me use the word, even though it's not very appropriate right now, shameless. Children they don't have shame. You can see them in parties, while some children are just holding back, they don't want to dance. Oh, the sanguine children are all over the place, dancing. They don't have reservations. Of course, especially except when they are becoming teenagers, when their friends are beginning to influence them, that's when they start holding. Otherwise, when they are smaller, you go to parties, you see some children, they don't want to move their legs, they don't want to dance. But the sanguine child, won't be that one. They are very sociable. Then you have the melancholic children. Now they are not so sociable. I have parents in the free group. We have parents talking about, oh, my child at home, at home my child is free, he talks, he plays, and all of that. But when my child gets to school, it's a different ball game. They don't say anything. I think we had parents talk about that in the visionary tribe. So if we're a parent with that question or observation, one thing about the melancholic children is that they don't trust easily. They don't easily trust. So when they're at home they trust. At home they can be very free. The melancholic child has a tendency to dominate too. They can be very free. They can assert themselves at home. Your mouth no go reach them for house. Why? Because home is their safe space. But when they go out there, they still will not, they will not talk. They are still trying to understand the environment. They are trying to see, are these people friendly, are they hostile. They can do that for a long, and they are observing, they are internalizing, they are taking in the environment, they are studying the environment, they are forming and they are analyzing the environment mentally until they are sure, okay, this is how this environment is. It can take them a very long time. It takes them a very long time. Once they are able to settle in, then fantastic. It's easy for them. But they need to be sure they trust the environment. So it is when they get home, or once they see you, they get, oh, they are all over the place playing and all of that. You need to always be their safe place. But when they get to school, it's a different ball game. You are wondering, are you afraid of your classmates? Are you this? Are you that? It is because they are still testing. They are still carrying out their experiment. They are still but guess what? Once they have relaxed into, have the other one, the phlegmatic, who may not talk at home and will not still talk in school for a very long time, except maybe they just have their tiny small circle they can go. Otherwise, because they just love their comfort zone, like I told you, they want their peace, so they just want to stay in their space and enjoy themselves all the time. When they get home, they can be more chatty at home, but they when get outside there, they don't the bravery, the boldness to just be all over the place. So they also want to keep to themselves more, especially when that environment proved to be a bit hostile. They want to, they don't want to just be all out. Then we have the choleric also. These ones, one thing about them is they have the should I say, the capacity to be very friendly, to be sociable. However, one thing about these ones is they love power, they love to be in charge. So like you have a choleric child, for example, you say, oh, they meet someone, they don't easily warm up to that person. They are watching that person. They want to be sure, is that person, will this person come and intimidate me? Can I intimidate this person? Can I rule over this person, or will this person attempt to rule over me? So they want to be sure. They are doing their why the melancholic wants to make sure they are safe. The choleric wants to make sure they can take over. So it is why the melancholic, they over time, their own, for them to warm up may take a long time, while the choleric, it doesn't take too much time. Once they are sure of what they want, they can warm up. But once they are not sure, they are not going to warm up. So it is why melancholic, they take a long time, and their patterns are more consistent. You realize that almost every time they go out, almost every time they meet new people, they are likely not going to just come out and warm up. But the choleric, their patterns are not very consistent because they know what they are looking for. Once they get it, they go for it. Want to look at adaptability. How does your child adapt to new environments, new things? Another thing you need to look at for, are they adaptable? The sanguine, and like I said, they leap before they look. So you already know that those ones are adaptable. They look before they leap. So they are very adaptable. They don't even need anything. They don't need any pep talk. They get to a place, they're already all over the place. That's the sanguine. They are very adaptable. The choleric also is adaptable, but the sanguine, the melancholic is not readily adaptable. They are not readily adaptable. They want to make sure they are safe. They have this fear. They want child that is not very adaptable. They get to a place, they are just trying to be super careful. then that is either your melancholic child or your phlegmatic child. One thing about phlegmatic child is phlegmatic, they are adaptable, however they don't like to leave their comfort zone. So if they are in a new environment, they will just it's just like, I don't have a choice, they will settle in a new environment. Ordinarily they don't like to leave their comfort zone, they enjoy their comfort zone. It is why they will not want to readily go to a new environment, because they enjoy their comfort zone. So we've talked about adaptability. What's the next one? I've talked about reaction already. Okay, I'll just talk about it quickly. Have I talked about four? One, two. I've talked about the activity level, how high and how much energy they have. I've talked about predictability. I've talked predictability. I've talked about sociability. I've talked about adaptability. Now, emotion, intensity of emotions, and I've shared about it already. You see the sanguine, oh my gosh, they are all over the place, very reactive. I've talked about that non-stop. Threshold, responsive, sensitivity. This is a very big one, and the melancholic scores very high on sensitivity. Yes, they are highly very sensitive to things. They are the ones that they complain, they always find complaining things, because they are highly sensitive. They are the ones that when the music is loud they are complaining. They are the ones that, I see parents do this a lot. You take your child out and up, you are angry, you don't like it, you are wondering, it could be that your child is sensitive to the noise. The noise is too much. If the noise is too much, your child will not like it. Your sensitive child will not like it. If the place is too crowded, your sensitive child will not like it. No, because when you have a child as a parent, it's now not much about you. It's not about your child really. So you can take your child out. You have 3 children. You have some who sanguine all over the place. When he sees people, they are happy. I tell my children, body go dey shock you. They are happy. They are jumping from one corner to the other. They are just all excited. Then you see the melancholic child in that situation. They are crying, whining, because the crowd is too much, because the noise is too much, because everywhere is just noisy. They are uncomfortable. It is who they are. It is not their fault. They don't like. They are sensitive children. So you also want to know that. You see, there was something about the melancholic child also. Like my daughter, she's predominantly melancholic, and some of the things she doesn't like I've said it before. Oh, when it comes to, I remember one time on Facebook, I said, when your child says no to your food, if you have an alternative, you can offer them really. If you don't have an alternative, then you can gently explain to them. It's not always, people say, oh, it means the child is not contented. It's not always about contentment. There are some children that just don't like it. I've seen very many people, they don't like to eat eba. They say it's not smooth. Like my daughter, for example, she doesn't like to eat eba. She said it's not smooth. If she wears some clothes, she will say, oh, it itches and all of that. When I wear it, it doesn't itch me, because she is a sensitive child. So you need to understand those things in your children. One child, like the sanguine child, so anything can go. But another child may not be easily adaptable, like the melancholic child. They are really sensitive to environment, to everything around. Why the sanguine child will like it where there is noise, like people. The choleric child may like it. Oh, everybody is just here, yes, and being recognized, and being mom. The phlegmatic will just like, as long as I'm safe, I don't care. Let me just stay in my corner and do my thing. As long as I'm safe, nobody is troubling me, I don't mind. The melancholic child will mind. The noise is too much. People are just too much. Why is this one looking all this? Why is that one looking all this? Can't we just all look the same? Why is everybody, oh my gosh, the place is, I'm feeling giddy. That's what goes on in your melancholic child's brain all the time. Let's talk about mood. Yes, let's talk about mood. Now, for your melancholic child, I've talked about this before. They have mood swings. One time they are happy, another time they are not happy. I know the thing, when it comes to puberty, when it comes to phases of development, your child is growing, they are going through phases, their temperament will play a great role in it. When it comes to, let's talk about learning difficulty in children, or let's talk about special struggle in children, you know, their temperament will play a great role in it. I once had, when I was living in Lagos, I once had a child. He had Down syndrome, and I will call it not so, let's say mild, okay, let's say average. You would never see him at home. His mom passed. Oh, bless her soul. You would never see him at home. He would just, they used to call him Wakajugbe. Waka, 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 waka. Jeez. Can't you just stay at home? You know, I've also have seen other children insult them. You know how we can be so critical with this kind of people. Insult them, carry go, they do mumu, things like that. But this particular one is everywhere. You are wondering, it is because the mom was sanguine. Oh, the mom was super sanguine. No, it is because the child's temperament has come to interact with the child difficulty. It is why you see some children, for example, they have learning difficulty. We look at children with learning difficulty, for example. You see some, they are very aggressive. Some are more tame, they are more calm. It is their temperament that is coming to interact with it. The same thing happens when your child is going to experience, any phase in life. Always be understand that your child's temperament will come to play in it. For example, you have a child who is sanguine, is undergoing pre-puberty, and he has a lot of questions, he has a lot of development, curiosities, and all of that. Because they are very expressive, they are likely going to ask you questions. So why for other children, like melancholic, for example, so a very good relationship with them, but they will still not be comfortable asking you certain things. They will still not be comfortable asking you certain things. Not because you don't have a relationship with your child, but because that is who they are. They naturally have boundaries. They naturally are secret keepers. It is why they are the ones that most likely get depressed. Yes, the way the way a melancholic child will handle situations is not the same way a sanguine person will handle situations. A sanguine, they are not persevering, they are resilient because they easily bounce back. They don't hold things for too long. Of course, except they have melancholic at their primary, at their secondary temperament. That is why you can see them, oh, they internalize pains and they hold it for too long. But the regular sanguine, nah, they don't actually do that. So while they are very expressive, they are curious, they just even talk before they think, your melancholic may not be that readily expressive. Sometimes they even observe something, they just want to hold it back. While the phlegmatic, on the other hand, even though they don't want to hold it back, they do not want to bother you. They don't have an idea, they don't know what to do. They do not want to bother you. So temperament comes to play in as your child is growing, you need to understand your child's temperament. Once you understand your child's temperament, you know exactly, okay, how do I help my child at this age? Is my child the one that keeps things to herself, that keeps quiet? If my child is the one that keeps quiet, then I need to do something to make him talk more. I need to ask open-ended questions. I need to do something. If your child is the one that talks, it's okay, it's fine. So that is it. We're still talking about mood. Yes, I think mood got us into this conversation. I remember back then in school, when I was very active in class, I had a boy in my class, Promise. Promise has this kind of blank affect. You will not know. Everybody will be laughing. Promise will know. Oga, what is it? That was just him. One thing about phlegmatic, that was also, sometimes you don't know whether they are happy, you don't know whether they are sad, they just have their face one kind. That is if the child dominantly phlegmatic. child is predominantly phlegmatic. So they just have this kind of face that you don't know whether they are happy, you don't know whether they are pleased, they're satisfied or not. So that is one thing about them. But the melancholic child, yeah, their mood swings no be here. The and one of the things about the melancholic over because they are very critical. For children, they have time. Typical children, sanguine, because they are not deep. But melancholic, they are the ones that they are crying. Everything you like, do. Of course, they said they have secondary temperament of sanguine. Everything you like, do. They will cry. They will cry their papa. They will cry their mama. They will cry more. They will cry and cry and cry until they cry out their timeline. They will not stop crying. That's one thing for a really long time. Sanguine also have unstable emotions. They also have 1 minute they can be very something can make them super happy, they're excited, they're always happy people. You can do something that seems so insignificant, and the way they will react to it, it is because they are naturally very impulsive. They don't sit down to think like, this one reach to vex me or this one no reach to vex me. They don't sit down to think. They just go all out and they are just angry, escalating something that is not supposed to be a big deal. That is something about them. However, the thing about them is their anger is not long, it's short-lived. So before you know what is happening, they're out of the mode and they are back to normal. That's something about the sanguine. It takes them a very long time. It is why they can keep malice. Yes, if they keep you in mind, they can keep you in mind for. They are the ones that say, I don't forget. I don't forgive. That is the typical of them. I don't forgive. Let's look at the next one. Distractibility. This is the eighth one. Distractibility. Ability. We always say that children have short attention span. Children, I hope you are not taking notes. Children have short attention span. Yes, we know that. Some of them, they can actually stay for 5, 10, 15 minutes and listen and get it. Some of them, they cannot stay more than 5 minutes. It's not because they don't want to stay more than 5 minutes. So it is because their attention span is relatively low. And I shouldn't even be telling you the child who has the shortest attention span. They are the sanguine. Their attention span is very, very short. They are easily distracted. Ooh, they are always talking in class, always making noise in class. Excuse me, they are easily distracted. We are teaching and something is passing and they are distracted. Now, it is why it is easy. Why the melancholic child may not be able to concentrate reading in a noisy environment, because they naturally are not comfortable with noise. The sanguine child will not be able to concentrate because the noise will distract them. That's why they concentrate. Oh my God, they are reading and somebody is making noise. The next thing, they're even helping that person finish the conversation in their mind. Some two people are gisting, they are reading, they're helping that person finish the conversation. So if you have that kind of a child who is a sanguine, like I was talking about, learning styles also, your child's temperament. So if and how you can support them to excel in their academics. For example, you have a sanguine child, for example. Now, because they like happening place, they like place where it's happening, where it's bubbling, where the noise is. They don't like it when the noise is not there. They will tell you, Mommy, I can read where television is on. Don't give it to it. Don't even allow. They are not reading. The next thing they are listening to is what Dora is saying on TV. They are not reading that at all. So your child's cajoling you that they can read. So distractibility. The sanguines are highly distracted. From it one time, and the man was saying that when it comes to being disciplined, the sanguines are the ones that are less disciplined. Of all the temperament, they are so undisciplined. I really don't blame them. One, they have high energy. High energy means they just have energy to be everywhere, and two, they are easily distracted. So combine them, you realize that they don't hold interest for long. It is why sanguine husbands are the ones that are most likely going to cheat again, except of course they have become intentional. I don't want to say they have the Holy Spirit in them, because non-Christians are also listening to this. Except they have become super intentional, they have disciplined the man in them, and they become super intentional. Otherwise, they don't hold interest for long. They are easily distracted, and then they also have high energy, which means they cannot stay in one place. Now, because they cannot stay in one place, they'll be everywhere. Now, because they are everywhere, they are already seeing A, seeing B, see C, see everything. That is why at the end of the day, they cannot hold interest for long. They are easily distracted. Okay, so the next one, okay, we talked about that. One thing about the melancholic, like I said at the beginning of this class, is they have capacity to apply themselves. So when you say when you say children attention spans are short, this melancholic can actually apply themselves, the choleric can apply themselves, the phlegmatic, nah, they can, if they are actually ready to apply themselves to increase their attention span, to be less distracted, they can apply themselves really. But the sanguine, it takes extra effort for them to apply themselves, because naturally they have high energy, naturally they are chatty, naturally they are impulsive, naturally they are distracted. Just imagine, it simply means that their eyes, their energy, they are doing the thing. So if you have a child who is what is it called, sanguine, one of the very things you want to invest in is self-discipline. Begin to teach them self-discipline from small. Let it start waiting your turn. You set discipline is the ability for you to wait a little, just wait a teeny weeny bit, wait, don't do it now. I One of the things our parents did that didn't make sense, when they will tell you to finish your food before you eat your meat. If you don't finish your food, you will not eat your meat. I tell people, I still do it today, because that is you telling your child to wait. Everyone wants to eat their meat. They want to eat the meat and just run off, because it's sweeter. So now self-discipline is not about whether it's a nonsensical idea, whether it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. It's not really about whether it's right or wrong. Like I always say, so you let your child know. I tell my children, when I have them do things, I always explain to them, because I don't want them to go with the superficial impression they are having about a particular, they think I'm doing that thing. No. So I go further to explain to them. Like when I tell them, okay, you eat your food before you eat your meat, and I explain to them, it is because I want you to be able to hold back, self-discipline. I tell them, okay, we're not supposed to do XYZ now because of this, and I explain to them it is because of this thing they are doing. Tell them you're not supposed to interrupt except it's an emergency. When it's not an emergency, so you actually go ahead to explain to them. Okay, that's the strategy. Explained it now, or the four temperaments under distractibility. Now the last one, the ninth one, is persistence. Can your child concentrate and stick with tasks for a long period? Does your child have the difficulty maintaining focus and giving up easily? That is persistence. So is your child, oh nah, I've said it here a while ago. I said they don't hold interest for long. They don't hold it for long. You can understand that they have high energy, and then they are easily distracted. So they cannot hold interest for long. It's not possible, because they have high energy. So they'll have itchy feet. They want to stand up. They want to do things and all of that. Then you expect them to. They want to be all over the place. And then apart from that, their eyes are everywhere. They are seeing things. Distracted. Oh, I can create something like this. Oh, this, can I get this, and all of that. Then you expect them to persist over one thing. No, they're not going to persist. Not because they persist, but because they don't have the natural skills, the natural ability to persist. Let's talk about the melancholic. their attention span is top notch, so they can actually persist because they have good attention span. Yep. The only reason why the phlegmatic may not be able to persist because they love it soft, easy, like we do. Yeah, we love the beautiful life. So the phlegmatic may not be able to persist when it's becoming tough. Otherwise, they can persist if they apply themselves. Actually, the phlegmatic children are some they are one of the most productive of them all. If only they can apply things you need to do now is to make sure your phlegmatic child, you begin to create an atmosphere where they can apply themselves, because when they can apply themselves they are going to be able to achieve a great deal. So yes, this brings us to the end. I've shared it all with you today, how to understand child's temperament and why it matters. I said we talked about activity level. I told you that the choleric and the sanguine were very high on the activity level, but the two other temperament are not so high. I talked about predictability. I said sanguine na on the predictability scale, the sanguine was the lowest. You know, they are always everywhere. I talked about sociability. I said on the sociability scale, the melancholic child and the phlegmatic child, they score lowest. I talked about adaptability. I say on the adaptability scale, your sanguine child scores highest. They easily warm up, they easily get to a place, they just easily blend. You will need to teach them to look before they leap, and not the other way around. I say your melancholic child is not very adaptable. Your phlegmatic, told you about my book Understanding Your Child, you are going to learn more, a great deal more about your child. You need to get that book. It's just 3,000 naira for the hard copy and 2,500 naira only for the soft copy. It's going to be very helpful. Then we talked about emotional responses, how your children respond, how they express their emotions. And I said, oh, the um like the sanguine child is unstable. They can be very yeah, they can be very exaggerative, especially when it comes to pain. The phlegmatic child may not be so expressive of their emotions. They tend to have the ability to take in pain a great deal, very expressive. I talked about responses, how sensitive your child is. I explained that to you also. Told you that your melancholic child scores highest on the sensitivity scale. I told you that they can be sensitive to external light, noise, crowded environment, texture, and a whole lot of them. It is why they may not want a particular food. It's not because they are not contented or because it's just because they are sensitive children. It's because you take them, it's why you take them out for a party. They are just whiny, crying, and other children are having fun. It's not because they want to frustrate you. It's just because they are sensitive to such external stimuli. They don't want all those many noise, crowd, and all of that. I talked about mood, and I talked, yep, your melancholic child, they always have mood swings. Your phlegmatic child, they have something you cannot predict easily. They are neither quite, their mood is just like, is blank most of the time. You can't make, you can just wondering, are you happy, are you sad, you know. That is one thing about the phlegmatic child. You don't always know whether they are sad. The predominantly phlegmatic, you don't know whether they are sad, whether they are happy. They just carry that kind of face. The Okay, I talked about distractibility. Your sanguine child scores high, very high, highest on the distractibility scale. I told you that your melancholic child has a capacity to be less. Your phlegmatic and your choleric child, they can actually apply themselves and stay more focused. However, your sanguine child struggles to apply themselves when it comes to distraction, because they are very imaginative. Their eyes are always everywhere. They have high energy. They're imaginative. They are low on persistence. So because of that, they don't hold interest for long. So because of that, their gaze, they're always like, any small thing, they pick. And I say, yeah, your melancholy your sanguine child scores low on persistence, again, is because they don't hold interest for long, because they're easily distracted, it's because they have high energy. I do hope you learned a great deal. I hope you enjoyed listening to me and watching me the same way I enjoyed doing this with you. I hope you have learned a great deal. Like I always said, now you have known them, what are you going to do? You know your child's temperament, you know how to structure your environment, you know how to allow your child, you know how to motivate, more flexible, and you know whether to be more rigid. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I said we have the self-led summer mentorship class for your child. You need to register. The bonuses they are going to get is not just here. And I'm still curating more bonuses for them. They're going to have a journal a journal template for the summer. They're going to have a planner for the summer. They're going to have goals and a lot for the summer. And again, also I talked about the Visionary Parent Academy that you need to join in 2025 is going to do you a great deal. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Enimi Orebon. Good night and see you back in the free group.